that we've been the oldest civilization. And when all the other civilizations in the entire world have died down, how have we and why have we survived so far?
Well, survival, there are various aspects. To begin with, our initial few millennia of survival happened because of two geographical features. The Indian Ocean, which people had no capability to come and invade nations at that time, and the Himalayan ranges, which was also a barrier for people to come. This gave us a few millennia to evolve this civilization in a way that it's not about survival, it's about more profound and subtler dimensions of life. It is because of this, because of Himalayas and what is Indian Ocean today was called as Hindu Sagara, he and Du, we became Hindu. It's a geographical identity which is going through a lot of today's situations. But that is the first one. And the second part of it is, see, even when we were over 200, 300 political entities during our history, many kings were ruling this place. In spite of that, people from outside always recognized us as Hindustan. And even people who lived here always recognized ourselves either as Hindustan or Bharat. So why is this? Though we are different nations within a subcontinent, why we always refer to ourselves as one nation is because our political entities did not matter to us. The fundamental difference between the people of this land and the rest of the world was they were all believers. They all had the God sitting up there and telling them what to do. Here, the people and the civilization had evolved in such a way, we are not people who are looking up and listening to something. Here, always it was taught your life is your karma, that means it's your own making. Essentially, this is about human responsibility to craft their own life. It is that fundamental which made us the civilization that we have been and has allowed us to survive beyond all reasonable limits of time. Like 12,000–15,000 years, no civilization has survived, but essentially because here always people saw that our life has to be crafted from within us, from religion to responsibility. This is the future also. This is what Adiyogi stands for. Adiyogi represents this fundamental, that people have to move from what we call as religion, that is looking up to looking in. It is this one quality which made us survive.
Sadhguru, you spoke about the geographical locations, but if we talk about Greece or if we talk about Egypt, they also had, water around them. So what made Bharat unique in our survival?
As I said, because people have always been taught that life is your making, it's your karma. Because of this, we understood that these things are not raining upon you from somewhere. Whenever things happen to them from outside, they thought gods are angry with them. Here it's not like that, we knew it is our karma, we have not done something right and obviously we made corrections and that's how we have survived.
Right. Throughout these years, Sadhguru, we have come down to being, most sought after as far as technology is concerned. So what makes the youth of this country, we're a young country now, what makes the youth of the country so unique?
I wouldn't say we are the most sought after, but we could become that. The fundamental thing is this, in my experience, I'm speaking to a variety of people across the world, and what I see is, on an average, if you take common citizens in any part of the world, India has a higher level of intellect than most other nations have.
The reason being?
This is a consequence of thousands of years of culture and evolution. We call this samskara. Today, only today, now recently, modern science is recognizing this, we have always been saying this, now they're talking about cultural learning that happens. They have made experiments that if like a mouse or a rat is given something that it likes, like a piece of cheese, and it smells some particular smell, and it goes for it and it gets electric shock. If you do this to one rat, next 7 generations of rats will not go near that piece of cheese which smells in a particular way because they understand there's going to be an electric shock. So this we called a sanskara. That means we learn, genetically we learn many things which are not just genetic affair. It is just a learning process which is stored within us, which we transmit. So these thousands of years of civilization has led us to a place where there is a certain level of natural intellect. But what we need here is now a little more organization to see that this intellect finds expression in a positive way.
So what is the future of Bharat, and where do you see Bharat in, say, about 22nd century?
You're approaching me like like I'm an astrologer or something. This is what I've been saying. We survived all these thousands of years because we saw our life is our making. We will flourish in the future only if we understand this, that our life is entirely our making. This is what karma means.
Right.
So, we have to move this nation from dogmatic religious processes which has come to us from outside to this dimension that it is our responsibility, our life is entirely our responsibility. This one thing must be transmitted in this country, this nation, as it was in the past, we have to move it from religion to responsibility. That's where Bharat is.
That's where Bharat is.
Yes, because Bharata means you know what?
Yeah.
Bha means the bhava, that means our experience of life. Ra means the raga, the tune. This is not set by us, this is set by the creation. Tha means the thala. If you find the right thala in your life, your life becomes a dance. If you don't find the thala or the rhythm of life, then you're crushed by the same process of life. You're every day seeing this. The same forces allow one person to rise and soar. The same forces allow another person to get crushed. Simply depends on whether he found the rhythm of life or not. So this is what Bharata means. This is the most profound way to approach a nation, and it is our business, it is our duty to ensure that the future generations of this nation have this sense that we have to find our rhythm. Only then the best expression of a human being happens.
Right. So Sadhguru, you just said that our sanskar has, taken us through all these years, and that's how we see ourselves in this 22nd century also, when Bharat will survive. So on one end, if we believe this, you also talk about re-engineering.
I've never talked about re-engineering, we're talking about inner engineering.
Inner engineering.
See, this is the most fundamental dimension of being human compared to all the other creatures. A tiger is born, an elephant is born, a grasshopper is born. A tiger is not making an attempt to be a good tiger. If he just eats well, he becomes a good tiger. Everything else is fixed with him, within himself by nature. But you may be born as a human baby, whether you grow up into a good human being or a great human being or a terrible human being is all left to you. So, nature has left this responsibility in our hands. This is what human means, that our life is in our hands. For all the other creatures, everything is set. So when it is in your hands, you have to make it happen. It's not going to just happen. Just because you're born human, it doesn't mean you're going to become a great human being. You have to do so many things, even to be a sensible human being, isn't it?
If I say that Hindu philosophy, the Hindu DNA is the greatest and the only solution.
A Hindu doesn't have a philosophy, that's what is beautiful about us. Nobody gave us a philosophy, nobody gave us a commandment. In this culture, even when the so-called divine entities came, we only asked questions. Because we are a land of seekers, we are not a land of believers. Even when, let's say, Adiyogi himself came and he speaks to his beloved wife and she freaks him with 1,000,000 questions. Krishna speaks to his closest person in his life, Arjuna, that too at the edge of a battlefield. That guy asks hundreds of questions. So here nobody has ever been able to give us a commandment or a philosophy and say, this is it. We are not this is it people. We are a constantly evolving people because we are seekers, seekers of truth and liberation. Our goal is not heaven, our goal is not some absolute up there, either in the form of God or heaven. Our goal is freedom, mukti, moksha and truth or satya. Our goal is always truth and liberation, not heaven and God. So there is no philosophy here, there is no ideology here, there is no commandment here. Here we are in a constant mode of seeking. When you have to seek, the basis of seeking is this, that you have realized that you do not know. I do not know is a tremendous possibility. Only if you see I do not know, the longing to know, the seeking to know and the possibility of knowing happens. In this culture, we always identified with our ignorance, not with our knowledge, because we understand and we have realized that our knowledge, however great we think it is, compared to this cosmos, is just a minuscule. What we know is just a minuscule. So if you identify with that minuscule, you will become a minuscule. Our ignorance is boundless. So we identify with our ignorance, we always identify with what we do not know, so that we are a constant expansion. This cannot happen with a fixed philosophy or a commandment or an ideology.
But if you say we feel minuscule, if we feel small, we have also been made to feel small throughout the history that we've read.
Oh, well, we didn't handle the conquest well. When handful of bandits, maybe a few hundred bandits came, they didn't come to conquer this land, they just come to loot and run away. But then they saw that people were so docile and welcoming, they became emperors. Bandits became emperors. So that's our history, that's okay, but we have survived that.
So we've always been very accepting of people of other…
Absolutely, because this is not a nation where we see a stranger as enemy, first kill him and then ask him questions. We are not that kind of culture. When somebody from outside came, we thought it's very interesting and we welcomed them, because they're different from us and we loved that. We liked variety. This is why if you travel 50 kilometers within the state, I'm saying, every 50 kilometers you travel, at least that much. Even 10, 15 kilometers if you travel, people look different, speak different, same language spoken differently, eat differently, dress differently, everything different. Every village has a god of their own, all right?
That's right.
So, this variety evolved simply because we liked variety. So when new people came, we welcomed them, but they thought this is our weakness and they took advantage of that. That is past now.